What are you actually afraid of? I want you to think about that, because anxiety and fear, they have a pill, but it doesn't solve the problem. And anxiety is everywhere, but it comes from your brain. What are you really afraid of right now? I want you to think about your own life right now in your life. What is happening right this very moment that you're afraid of? Nothing. So if you woke up today with anxiety, what are you fucking afraid of? There's nothing going on in your life right now. Like right now, you are listening to me, watching this video, listening to the podcast, whatever. So that's scary. That's why you have anxiety. That's why you have fear. That's causing the anxiety. Does your breathing make you scared? Does your heartbeat make maybe the chair or your car you're sitting in? Nothing. You can't. Anxiety is the most manufactured problem. Honestly, it's right up there with depression. And I'm sure people are going to get all upset, but that's because you're using that as a label and an identity, not a problem with a solution. You like it because it allows you to not do anything because you fall back on the label that you have. But if you're listening to this right now, I want you to think about anxiety and fear. Really, if you're listening to this right now, there's nothing happening right now in your world that you should be afraid of. Nothing. Unless you're doing this and you're in the middle of a war zone and you're actually being shot at, or there's some lion hunting you, you have nothing. Fear and anxiety are the same thing. Just so you understand, it's a lie that you turn towards when you don't know the outcome of something, when you have this uncertainty, right? Because you want this certainty in everything you do. You want guarantees. You want a guarantee, look in the mirror. But when you have uncertainty, when you aren't willing to get up and handle it, that's when anxiety and fear show up. You turtle. You go back into your little shell and you hope that it all goes away. But the problem isn't outside, it's in you and all the things you're telling yourself. Has anything killed you yet? Listen, I've been this guy where I used to get anxious and just frustrated out of fear. But has anything killed you yet? How many times has something killed you? How many times have you actually died? You want to go really hard into this? How many people were terrified, locked in their homes, locked out of their jobs, locked away from their loved ones because of a made-up scenario a little while ago? Listen, they came out and told you it was bullshit. But in the moment, most of you jumped into the lifeboats that they provided and locked yourself away like good little sheep and waited for the boogeyman to go away. Listen, right now, a lot of you guys are listening to this and you want to come up with reasons why I wouldn't understand or how terrifying it was for you. And I honestly just want to punch you in the mouth. You're choosing that. You are born fearless and unstoppable. As a child, a baby, you come into this world fearless and unstoppable and disciplined in the right direction. All of you parents and school teachers that are teaching kids to be afraid of things, now you guys... Fuck, you guys piss me off because you're screwing people up. Don't put your fears onto somebody else because you're afraid. And I'm not talking life or death scenario. I'm talking because you're afraid of an ant or a spider or a shadow or a noise or some other bullshit. You are imposing your fears on other people, mostly because you're a coward and you don't want to be alone. So you want someone else to join you with the fear. But that's why I said right now, a lot of you guys will come up with reasons why you were a good little sheep and you locked yourself away until that manufactured boogeyman went away. Was it more terrifying? Okay, so let's go down that road. A couple of years back, when everything happened, and that I don't understand how terrifying it was for you. Was it more terrifying? Let's talk about real fear, real anxiety, real terror. Was it more terrifying than watching your wife get escorted out of the hospital, out of the ICU, and out the door of the building to be locked out while they had me on life support? Was it that terrifying? Was it being segregated from everything you know and everyone you love terrifying? Was it losing a loved one and not even being able to go to the funeral because they had the 6-foot rule? No, it wasn't. And you fucking know it. You know it. I'm not going to spoon feed you permission for you to stay afraid or to live in this pit of anxiety just to watch you cost yourself the life that you want. You keep coming up with reasons to be afraid, but nothing happened. Nothing's ever happened. You have all these fears. How many of those have come true? Unless you did them yourself, they didn't. Like, we used to go to this one resort, Brandy and I, in Maui. It was called the Sheraton Black Rock, and some of you guys might know it. And we'd swim out to the Black Rock, right? It's way out there. And it's just this ridge that kind of comes off the beach and then it has this end on it. And we'd climb up and jump off. I'm guessing maybe 15, 20 feet tops. It wasn't super high. But I remember swimming out there, dragging my friend Steve with me. I was swimming for both of us because I'm an incredibly strong swimmer and he wasn't. He's a great football player, just a lousy swimmer. And he started panicking in the water because he kept going under. And there's an example of fear in the moment in a real situation. So I dragged him the entire way to the rock. But when we got out to the rock, I started climbing up the rock, whatever it was, some lava rock there, to jump off. And all I smelled was piss everywhere. So I got to the top and there were people standing up there, terrified, absolutely terrified to jump into the water. And they were pissing themselves all over this rock. Fucking disgusting. So I'm standing in everybody else's piss. So I jump, touch bottom, surface, and swim back to shore. And I watched the people who were there when I got there, who stood out on that rock for another hour at least, just to climb back down, inch across that rock all the way back to shore, not even going into the water. But nothing happened to them. There were no sharks in the water, no metal spikes, no jagged pieces of concrete, no one waiting in the water to secretly drown you. And I realized something. The entire time they stood up there, that rock got bigger and higher and worse until an hour later, they were a mile off the water and they were landing on lava and concrete. They did that to themselves. Everything was in their head, all of it. Listen to me. Anxiety and fear, for the most part, are manufactured. I'm not talking fear of nocturnal predators or some weird kind of genetic DNA issue that you have going on. I'm talking about fears that you guys have. Like more people who consider themselves fearless are more scared of public speaking than dying. Dude, put me in front of one person, put me in front of a million people. I just don't care. I don't care. I'm me. I don't know how many people see this. 1, 1 million, 5, it doesn't matter to me. I'm out here every day because I want to help people. But I'm only talking to one person right now, whoever that is. But these guys standing on that rock creating this nightmare, everything was in their head, all of it. So I'm not going to tell you that it's okay to have anxiety and fear outside of anything that isn't happening in the immediate present. Oh, but you don't understand, Spartan. It's suffocating. No, it's not. You don't understand how terrifying it is. The anxiety, just like it crushes my lungs and I get spun out. You're doing that to yourself with the dialogue that you have and the questions you're asking yourself. Remember, the life you are in, the reality you are in is it's predicated on the conversations you have in your head and the quality of questions you ask yourself on a daily basis. So when you go, you don't understand, Spartan, you've never had to deal with this crushing anxiety. It's suffocating. No, it's not. I've been suffocated repeatedly for real, for months and months on end, by my own hand, by the way. You aren't suffocating, believe me. I know what that's like. And listen, let's go down this then. Let's say it does suffocate you. Really, for real. Let's say you suffocate. Good. I hope it makes you fucking pass out, or you get to a place where you're so terrified that you fight. When are you going to get to a place in your anxiety that you've just had enough and you go, you know what, I'm going to fight. Screw this, because if I'm going to die, I promise you, it doesn't matter where you are in your life. If you just roll over and die, you shouldn't be here. There is fight inside you. You just aren't tapping into it because somebody trained you to think otherwise and you bought into it. Listen, if I hold you underwater for the first little while, you're just going to be joking around thinking it's funny, huh? I get it, Spartan. But there's going to come a time, there's going to come a moment where you turn off everything rational and fight to get above the surface so you can breathe. It doesn't matter who it is holding you underwater, because the only thing you're thinking about is oxygen. That's real fear, terror of death. That's in the moment. But sitting on the shore, looking at the water, terrified that you might drown or that a shark's going to come up and swallow you, you did that to yourself. I have no sympathy for you, none. You did that. And you guys want sympathy for that. That's the problem, is you don't understand what it's like to live like that. No, I do. I've had more terror in my life than most of you ever will, ever. I've been through real shit. I did what needed to be done anyway. The fear you believe and the anxiety you have is created by you, and then you handed it the keys and let it run your life. And it's tolerated by society now. It's a label. You have anxiety, here's a pill. You have anxiety, here's 3 years of treatment on a couch. But instead of doing something about it and facing it, it's easy to stick your head in the sand and be the victim. I've laid awake in my beds, overwhelmed, stressed out. I don't know what direction to turn. Still happens to me. Welcome to being an adult. The only difference between us, the difference between winners and losers, is that winners do everything anyway. You've heard me say this so many times. Life is training. You're always training. You're always training in some direction, and if you don't control the direction, your emotions will. Here's what anxiety does. Your emotions have now created a belief, which has built a habit of you getting stressed out, overwhelmed, shutting down, running away, whatever it is you do, anytime things get uncomfortable. But your barrier, the bar for discomfort, gets lower and lower every time you run away, because all you're doing is reinforcing the anxiety and the fear. Would you fight to get your head above water to breathe? If somebody was holding you underwater, would you fight? Of course you would. Would you be too afraid of drowning in that moment while they're holding you under to fight with everything you've got? No, you wouldn't. You'd fight until you breathe or die. You're afraid, and that's what it comes back to. You're afraid of what might happen because you've already predicted that it's going to be bad. So really, what the hell are you afraid of? That it might not work? So what? Try something different. Keep on going until it does work. That you lose all of your money? So what? Make it all back and more. You've made it already. What if you have to borrow it? So then borrow it and make a bunch more. There's no shortage of money in the world. Stop thinking there is. If you have a money problem or your business isn't taking off, join the Unbreakable Mastermind. I can keep telling you this all day. Afraid people are going to make fun of you if you go out? Of what you're wearing, what your face looks like? They already are making fun of you. So it doesn't matter. They don't matter. Your opinion of yourself matters more than anybody else's combined. Burn that into your skull. You afraid that it's going to kill you? You're going to die anyway. Get out of the bubble. You've created a habit to hide whenever things get uncomfortable. Look at my life, my personal life. If you guys have followed me at all, you have seen some of the gnarly things I've been through and continue to go through because I look for where the problems are and I go there. But do you think for a second that I haven't been just run over by life, that I haven't been crushed so badly that I had no clue what to do? That there are days where I am so sick to my stomach because I'm so twisted up inside? I have. I keep showing it. I don't hide. I'm not some highlight reel on social media, which is what most of the people are. Let me show you how great my life is. Fuck, I'll show you all the bad things too because I'm real. I promise you, I've said it before, I'm probably one of the most real people on this planet and coming out here and telling you the truth. You guys can choose to believe the guys that are like, let me show you this magic script that made me millions, even though they're broke. Let me show you this magic workout that got me lean. No, it didn't. I've been through hell so many times. So what? I've been terrified, frustrated, crushed, sick to my stomach with just fear. I did everything anyway because I refused to let it control me. Letting anything that elicits fear in you stop you from living your life, that's your choice. It's not the fault of whatever's in front of you. It's not the fault of what's going to happen tomorrow. It's not the fault of whatever is you're thinking in your mind. I've been on life support. I've been bankrupt. I've gotten arrested. I've had my heart crushed. I felt worthless. I've failed a ton of businesses. I hear people say, oh, I do the same thing, bro. I just love that. Those are the same people that are claiming they have anxiety. Oh, I do the same thing you did, bro. Then why are you taking all those meds for anxiety? I'm here because I got up and I went to war every single time. I just said, I don't care what might happen. I care what I'm going to do right now. That's why I'm still here. The world is telling everybody to focus on your emotions. What do you think is going to happen when you do that? You become afraid. Listen, the instant that you say, fuck your feelings, do it anyway, you can't be anxious or afraid again, ever. Most of you make fear stronger because you feed it every day. Every time you say, I'll do it tomorrow, every time you run from something that makes you uncomfortable or sad or makes you a little worried, every time you hide, you're strengthening the habit of being afraid. How many times have you failed to squeeze the trigger on something just because you were afraid? I don't have the money. Sure you do. You just want to stay comfortable. I'm too tired to work out. No, you're not. You don't want to start at the bottom and you want to be entertained. You spent all of your time reinforcing the things that keep you where you are. For the past almost 4 years since they pulled out this lung, since cancer, since everyone told me to be afraid, I went everywhere that my fears screamed as loud as they could at me to not go there. That's how I got here. I'll spend it all. I'll exhaust myself. I'll expend it all. Everything. Because if there's even the slightest hint of anxiety or fear about something, I lean into that so hard with all I've got to make sure I'm the one that's in control, not my emotions. Every time I got off the couch to go work out, when I came out of the hospital, stupid oxygen machine keeping me alive, I knew the second I went out to that gym, I was going to suffocate. So I worked out harder to make it even worse. I'm not going to let that control me. Every time I was worried about money, I spent it all, everything. I made damn sure to be the last one standing between me and my fear. Anytime you want to stop being a bitch and instead demand control over your life, you can make that decision. And you guys, I'm sure, are going to get the comments all offended by that. I don't care. I'm right. Somehow it became acceptable to just be whiny and afraid and always putting your feelings first. Because right now, it's easier to complain and be the victim than solve the problem by walking headlong into whatever it is you're afraid of. You blame, you live in the past, you act like a victim because it's all easier. You want the solution to fear and anxiety? Say this every second of the day. It's my fault. I'm responsible. Just say that and then do something about it. That's the solution. I'm responsible for every emotion. I'm responsible for every fear. I'm responsible for every feeling. Become absolutely accountable to it all. That's the cure. Because the minute you do that, you realize how ridiculous your fears are because they've never happened and they're not going to. I've never experienced fear or anxiety during a workout where I'm going all out, everything I've got. And if you've seen me train, that's the only way I train. But nobody's ever experienced that. I've never felt anxious while I've had singular focus towards what I want my life to look like, and I'm just drilling down on my targets and doing things all day, every day to get there. I've never felt anxiety. When you have singular focus, you cannot have anxiety, which means you are only looking one direction and doing what takes you that direction even faster. Anxiety is when your thoughts are all over the place. You're unfocused, you're panicky, you're reflexively looking to hide. Your brain says, here, let me help you, and it begins building every screwed up scenario it can just to support you being afraid. What if she leaves me? What if the business doesn't work? What if nobody buys my product? What if nobody buys my service? What if the house doesn't sell? What if they make fun of me? What if it tastes bad? What if? What if you shut up and focus on one thing, and obsess on that nonstop to move you towards where you want to be? No anxiety. That's the result. No anxiety. You don't have the bandwidth available to think about what might happen when you're too busy doing things in the moment, because focus and action destroy fear and anxiety. White space on your calendar is the breeding ground for anxiety. You begin creating all kinds of imaginary issues. Except here's the truth. Imaginary problems, they've got no cure. You can't solve something that doesn't exist. Listen, the real truth behind all this, I've stood on stages in front of thousands of people. I've been so broke starting a business that I couldn't eat. I wasn't afraid whatsoever in either scenario and hundreds of other ones. Do you know why? Because I'd been preparing. Are you ever afraid of a workout? If you are, you're doing it wrong. But you shouldn't be. If you're afraid of a game, you weren't prepared. When you're prepared, when you're putting in the work, you don't have any fear because you know how much work you put in because you have the discipline to keep showing up. So you show up at the game on game day, you step into the arena, whatever that is. It could be a job interview. It doesn't matter, but you're ready. You're prepared. The only reason that you have anxiety is lack of preparation or manufactured fears inside your head, which are a result of lack of preparation. So I was never afraid because I'd been putting in the work. I knew my capabilities in all those arenas, so I was prepared. I've never been anxious in any situation where I've been prepared, and I mean over-prepared and prepared some more. The only time you'll feel fear and anxiety is when you know you didn't prepare. You didn't study for the test. You didn't train for the fight. You didn't do the work, and now you're in the arena. That's the only time. Preparation solves the equation, the life equation. The result you want, the vision you have, even in the moment, micro or macro, and all the obstacles and struggles that you have to go through. Well, the obstacles and struggles you have to go through in this time, in this moment, it's a preparation. Preparation solves the equation. No anxiety, no fear. because it builds the discipline to take on whatever the hell's in front of you. When you put in the time to grind and you've done it under any circumstance, regardless of whether you were sad, tired, upset, it doesn't matter. You defeat fear because you've got the discipline to execute under any situation, and you know it. You know it because you've done it. It's proof of concept because you're the one doing the work. When you push your limits of where you are every day, you grow. When you constantly lean into fear and anxiety, it runs from you instead of you running away from it. The only reason anyone is afraid or has any anxiety is because they aren't disciplined. They aren't doing what they know they should be doing and that they could be doing. They aren't committed to the goal, and they're hiding from all the uncertainty and discomfort that they need to actually go through to get to where they want to be. Listen, I get messages from people all the time. My anxiety is different. I have real fears. Have they killed you yet? No, they haven't. Then they're not real. Listen, I talk about everything in my mastermind. I solve every problem because I'm that good. It's not an egotistical statement. I'm that good because I've been through that much pain and suffering. I have a lot of solutions. Do you want to get rid of all your fear and anxiety? I'll help you. Here you go. First, stop thinking that it's going to happen like a light switch. You just hit the switch and it goes away. That's the lie of modern medicine, which doesn't solve problems for the most part. It covers them up. This is how you delete anxiety and fear. In the moment or forever, you need to control your fucking habits. Wake up every morning at the same time. I don't care how little sleep you've gotten or that some Instagram wannabe doctor says that you need 8 hours. Do I look like I'm tired? Have you ever seen me tired? I sleep 4 hours at the most every night, and I never run out of gas. Stop believing these idiots. Get up at the same time every day. No snooze, get up. Put together some kind of morning physical routine. Use mine. I don't, if you want to, I don't care. I do 100 pull-ups, 100 squats, 100 push-ups, and 100 bicycles. It takes me between 8 to 10 minutes. Use it if you want. You don't have to. Just something. But the entire time, this is the important part. The entire time, you don't need a 5-hour morning routine. But the entire time, I know what I'm doing. That's why this is important. The entire time, the only conversation in my head, while I'm doing all these things, my morning routine, my pull-ups and squats, the only conversation in my head is a list of all of the wins I've already had waking up. My lung works, my eyes work. I got this beautiful wife next to me. We make money. I have a business. It doesn't matter. I just stack a bunch of wins. 20 is my goal. And then the 3 to 5 things that I must complete before the end of my day, and they'll take all day. I make sure of it because they're tasks that are that big. I don't game my day to have time to sit around. That's the problem with a lot of you guys. You game your work so you can have time off, which is where you begin feeding the anxiety. You need to be busy from morning until night until you're exhausted. You used to be like that. Someone gave you permission to stop that. I'm taking that permission away. Have your entire day from eyes open to exhaustion at night planned out. The entire day planned out the night before. Your day today, by the way, started yesterday. You can't unwind today. Today you built yesterday. Start working today to make tomorrow better. You want a side question? What is one thing I could do tomorrow that would make it better than today? Do that. Answer that question. Open every day with control. Anxiety and fear are a product of having the belief that you have no control. Demand it from yourself and everybody else in your space. By demanding control and having nonstop actions, you're the one that takes control of everything. And make sure those actions you take are non-negotiable. Fear can't even show up when you do that. How can it? You're too busy. Listen, when it gets hard, and it's going to, dude, it is hard all the time. Stop allowing excuses. Stop saying I can't. Stop coming up with reasons why it's okay to avoid something that you need to do or know you should do. Think about it. What do you do when you say you can't? You worry. Every time you stall out or come up with reasons to not do something, you add more horsepower to fear and anxiety. How many drugs are you going to stick in your system to try and hide from something that doesn't have a chemical solution? When you have fear and anxiety, you pump out more adrenaline, more cortisol, more stress, more anxiety, and you run that program long enough, and that's all you know. And a lot of you guys are in that place right now, and I'm telling you how to get out of it. Most of you guys aren't going to do it because you'll argue that you should stay there. You need to have the discipline to do whatever it takes right now instead of worrying about the future. You spend all of your time worried about tomorrow instead of getting obsessed on what needs to be done right now, today. The current global mindset praises the victim, and the victim lives in anxiety and fear. You want to stay there? Knock yourself out. You will never succeed. You will never get to the point in the future that you keep telling yourself you need to be at in order to take action. You're never going to get there. If you're living in fear and anxiety, you cannot possibly get there. You guys tell yourselves, when I have more money, when I have a little more time, when I'm not financially tied up, when I have a better relationship with my girl, when my blood pressure is under control, when I get this paperwork handled. How long has it been? I know all of you that think like that. You lie and you make excuses and come up with validations almost as if they're being shot off of a conveyor belt, and you never do what you know you should. You never keep your promises, and all you know how to do is fucking talk. Action is the only answer, and until you do that, and you have the discipline to do whatever it is that you need to do when it sucks, you are feeding anxiety, because all of those weak habits are exactly why you are where you are. Start saying yes to everything that you're hiding from. Start moving from the moment you wake up until you pass out from exhaustion at the end of the day. And you know what somebody's going to say? Bro, there's no fun in that. I like to do things. Then enjoy your anxiety. You haven't built the life that allows you to deserve the vacation, the time off. If you're worried about anything that needs to be done or not having enough money or fitness or anything like that, you don't deserve time off until you get there. And by that point, you will have become a different person where you won't want it because you will be more about the work because you want the worth. When you move from the moment you wake up until you just collapse at the end of your day and you achieve everything you said you were going to do that day, you'll see fear, all that fear and anxiety. It just becomes a trail of bones and carcasses behind you because everything that you used as an excuse is now dead. Stop waiting for things. Start demanding things. Stop waiting for the answer. Start trying everything in the direction of your goals. Here's what's going to happen. Most of you guys are going to hear this and get in the comments and give me all of your validations and insults, not because I'm wrong, because I'm not, but because I'm taking away your excuse and you don't like it. You don't have a problem. You have an identity, and I just challenge that. Listen, it's easier to just cling to a label that absolves you of all of your responsibilities as an adult than it is to solve the equation. Because the alternative is to look in the mirror and accept that you've been a liar for years or decades and have chosen to be weak. You've chosen to look for what allows you to do less. You've chosen to embrace something that you can fall back on whenever it gets uncomfortable. You've chosen to let your lies become your reality. You've chosen to take some manufactured fear of something that hasn't even happened yet and probably never will and let it stop you from being uncomfortable, even though where the things are uncomfortable in your life is exactly where you need to go. But you know that, which is why this upsets you, which is why this triggers you. You don't have an anxiety or fear issue. You have a behavioral problem. Your problems, they're not keeping you down. They're not. Your illusory fears aren't stopping you. You're stopping yourself. The only difference between someone who lives as this weak, low-frequency, unsuccessful, unknown, self-loathing person and someone who goes out and becomes everything they wanted to become and builds the life they wanted is the one who said one sentence. Never again. 2 words. Never again am I going to allow my emotions and fears to control me. Never again am I going to leave openings for anxiety to creep in and shut me down. Never again am I going to do things to hide from the actions that I know I need to take. Never again. Because all change happens in an instant. The moment you decide to cut away that cancer that's been doing its best to keep you broken and afraid, and by the way, you can't cut it away until you realize you're the one who created it all in the first place, all of those fears and anxieties go away. Ownership, accountability, that's what you need. When I came out of the hospital, I had to, and I still do, I had to demand ownership of myself. I had to demand accountability. Otherwise, I was going to die. And I will until I die. I get up and I do everything possible in the direction of the life that I want every day. Frustrated, scared, anxious, sad, worried. It doesn't matter. I just do it. That's what winners do. But I never leave any white space on my calendar, so there's no anxiety that can show up. Listen, I have no guarantees or safety line. Winners don't. They just do whatever it takes because they just know that it's moving them in the direction they need to go. You're waiting for the right feelings to show up. You're waiting for your fear to subside. You're waiting for that perfect little moment to show up before you get off your ass and take every action that you know you should be taking to build your kingdom. Do you think I jump out of bed every day and grab my spear and my shield ready for war? Are you fucking kidding me? Most days I open my eyes and my beautiful wife is next to me and I want to stay in bed for so many reasons. I get up and do it all anyway. I've said it before, I'll say it again, life is training. That's why I get up. Because I've put myself in uncomfortable situations over and over again, and I'm going to continue to build stronger armor every day to be able to go even further, to push the extremes even more. But so many of you guys, when you get challenged by the world, when obstacles show up, when things get really uncomfortable, you fall apart. You guys are crippled by discomfort, so you run to your video games or overeating or drugs or to your Dr. Feelgood for a prescription to make the boogeyman stop. You jump on your phone or whatever it is you want to do to escape. Listen, the only way to eliminate being controlled by your fears, I didn't say eliminate fear, by the way, although you won't even notice the fear and anxiety anymore if you do this. The only way to resolve, and for lack of a better word, cure anxiety, is to find all the things you know you need to do. The more afraid that you are of whatever those things are, the further up the list those move into that pole position, that number one position. And you begin doing every single one of those. Start at the top and start doing that and never stop. You will become a juggernaut because all you're doing is facing opponent after opponent. And every time they fall, you level up. It's in control or being controlled.